Recognize that your mental health is so important. If you don't, then I promise you'll be so distorted. Stiffened by your thoughts, that's a mental rigor mortis. I'm on a hard mission and it won't be aborted. Assorted memories will seem to be your remedy, but in your darkest hour form into your enemies. Trust your gut, judge people off their energy. Cut them off quick and fast, they are limiting your room to grow.
You're listening to the Expect Effect podcast, where the concept of self-care is our primary focus. Consider this an acknowledgement of feeling, the opportunity to birth every great idea within you. This is your weekly dose of me time, and I'm your host, It's Just Nikia. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at It's Just Nikia. We also have personal pages dedicated to the show at the Expect Effect podcast on Instagram and Facebook. I want to applaud you for making it through another week, and as we approach the holiday season, whether this is a joyous or sad time for some of you, know that I am right here rooting for you. If you would like to send a personalized message to the show, you can actually visit theexpecteffectpod.com, as our website has launched, and send us a customized message, or you can visit again at the Expect Effect podcast on Instagram and Facebook. We are not licensed counselors or therapists, but I am a certified life coach here to help you with positive psychology practices and other like practices to assist you along your wellness journey. So listen, I really want you to get plugged in to the website, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Listen, I know that life is hard, but here at the Expect Effect, we believe that self-care, becoming the best version of yourself, well, at least for the portion of the time that you're here, these processes don't have to be. So sit back, relax, and unwind as we together uncover ways to truly expect better, do better, and believe better. Man, look at us. We are here. It is almost Thanksgiving. I'll be very transparent with you guys. This airs at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's currently 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I am here a little late, but also just thrilled to be here. I couldn't be in a better mood today. I don't think I could have a better energy as we approach the new year, and our website is finally live. TheExpectEffectPod.com is available. Go there right now. Any search engine. I've tested it out on mobile sites. Our blog posts are back, and you are going to see a blog post for today's episode this Saturday. So every Saturday, we're going to have new blog posts updated on the website, theexpecteffectpod.com. You can get locked into our social media pages, learn more about me in depth, your host. To those of you who maybe are just newer to the show, haven't been with us since the very beginning, haven't had an opportunity to go through and listen to those episodes, again, you can send a direct inquiry to the show, and you're also going to have those blog posts accessible to you there under the Expectancy Factor tab, where you can also book event session if you would like. We have snack size, lunch portion, and full course event sessions available for you there. So visit theexpecteffectpod.com to learn more. Man, listen, we're heading into, what is it? Yeah, holiday season is here. Our Voyage Dallas interviews start next week. I'm really, really, really excited to bring you the lineup of guests that I have here and end the year with these wonderful people that I have from Voyage Dallas. Also coming up, we've got Laura Miller coming back on the show, and you guys are really going to want to tune into our episode. I'm excited about it. I'm thrilled to have her here, and every time we have an opportunity to engage with one another, it's always a good time. So just want to shout Laura out. Also say, I'm looking forward to having you on the show, girls, so get ready for that engagement. That's about as much as I have to say. I really want to get into this week's topic, Made You Look. Now, if you know me, if you don't know anything else at this point, you have to know I'm a hip-hop head. So, Nasir Jones, Nasty Nas, said they shooting. Made you look. You a slave to the page in my rhyme book. Getting big money, playboy. Your time's up. And when I listen to that particular song, I think a lot of things. The production is crazy, Nas is amazing, but more than anything, I wonder what happens when life makes you look, right? You're focused, you're on the task at hand, and you're confident of the steps required to reach your goal, but suddenly, life hits. Someone is shooting and you just got hit. Now, whether that's an unexpected debt, an increased workload, a change in environment, even a sick family member, right? So maybe the money is shaky, or your friend groups aren't what they used to be. Excuse me. Perhaps you're frustrated with the accomplishments of others while seemingly remaining stagnant in your own life, right? This year has been tough, and I've seen it be a high for some people, and I've seen it be a low for some people, right? And one thing that definitely strikes me when I think about distractions was Peter, when he was walking on the water alongside Jesus. He began to sink the moment he got distracted, and we've begun to sink because we've taken our eyes off of our desires, and typically we're projecting ourselves elsewhere. And I'm learning every day that life is just a matter of thugging it the fuck out. It's going to be full of responsibility, stress, and situations requiring increased focus. You're going to have failure. You're going to have moments in which you're wanting to celebrate, be joyous, be happy, be victorious, and there are going to be moments of high anxiety, moments that you're weak, moments that you're frail and lacking answers. The key is learning to work through the ever-present distractions while crafting the best version of yourself. One question I asked previously is what you're willing to suffer for. That's a question asked by Buddha, but really essentially it's stop thinking that you're exempt from suffering and then determine what you're actually willing to struggle for. Of the things that you can control, what is going to be worth your energy? There are 6 particular steps I've found when we talk about eliminating distractions, or at least eliminating the impact and the weight that distractions have on our lives. Minor inconveniences to major ones. The first being implement a day-to-day self-care routine. I don't care if this is 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You need you time. You need time to balance yourself. I don't care if you find it in the bathroom. I don't care if you find it and commute to work. If you are an essential worker, someone who is still out on the front lines, if you're working from home, I don't care if you go to the closet because you just need a second from the 15 people around you. Figure out how to make a routine that is going to feed into you, nurture you, uplift you, and really ensure that you're able to put your best foot forward every day. No car can run on empty, no phone can run with a dead battery, and you cannot run without any energy. Number 2, pinpoint your distractions. Give them a name and then develop a game plan. Once you know what exactly is throwing you off your game, and we all know, it might be that ex, it might be that old reminiscent memory, that idea, that old dream, the dream that's well past because you've had 5 back surgeries and there's no way you're going to the NFL. It may be that disappointment, that loss, that regret you have from doing someone you loved wrong. It may be a conversation you never get to have. Whatever the case may be, if there are emotional distractions, if it's a person bothering you at work, if it's the aspect of the job itself, if you're stressed out because you're constantly procrastinating, are you worried about your body but then not adequately taking care of it? Like, so are you like, damn, I wanna be in really good shape, or I would actually like to gain some muscle, I'd like to gain some weight, but you're not taking any of the steps to get there? Are you trying to be a better student, a better parent, a better partner, and really not assessing where there are things throwing you off track? Give those things a name and then develop a game plan. The research is there. The assistance is there. You're listening to a certified life coach. Don't be afraid of therapy. Don't be afraid of friend groups, inner circles, other avenues and areas of help. Don't be afraid to dig into, like, what am I trying to say here? I would just say, really don't be afraid to explore the options that may be available to you in terms of assistance. You would be really surprised what you're able to find. And one thing we're actually going to bring to the expecteffectpod.com is going to be a general resources tab. It's going to tell you how to get help outside of just life coaching services that I offer, how to get help with mental health crises, how to get in touch with licensed counselors and therapists, and how to do some of this additional work that I'm suggesting. So I hope to have that portion up on Saturday with the blog post, fingers crossed. The third thing I would say is set attainable daily objectives. Once you've developed that game plan, break it down and then task your practices accordingly. Don't overwhelm yourself. You're not Superman. You're not, and even he was really a weak motherfucker at his core, because, I mean, they pulled out the kryptonite, no boy was out of there. Just a stone, a fucking rock. My nigga was taken out by a rock. But aside from that, you are human, and you're going to bleed, you're going to become weak, you're going to become tired, you're going to become strained, stressed, fatigued, exhausted, upset, angry, anxious. All of these things are going to happen to you. So be sure that when you're setting your game plan, that you break it down in an attainable daily objective fashion. Make sure that you task your practices accordingly, and don't put too much weight on yourself. It's okay to get give yourself a break, and it's definitely more than okay to be gentle with yourself. The fourth thing I would say is learn to manage your responses effectively. Okay? So when I say that, when you think about how you react to the distraction, do you sometimes beat yourself up if you still procrastinate, even if you said like, damn, I'm really going to do better this week? Do you sometimes go over the thing you said 15 minutes ago that you can't take back but have apologized for 20 times, and now you're still up late at night thinking about it? Learn to manage your responses. If you're really changing the way that you look at these things, and then you're really creating a game plan, and you really have an action plan, and you really know these are the next steps that I'm taking, then step back. It is okay to give yourself a break there. I'm serious. Be kind to yourself. Be reasonable. Be understanding. Be practical. Be honest with yourself. Make sure that there's a strong aura of accountability. Because when you're taking care of yourself every day and you're having a better, now you're in a better space, right? Because you're just taking care of yourself every day and you're able to pinpoint the distractions, give them a name. You've developed that game plan. You've set attainable daily objectives because you know I'm only human and I've got to task these things accordingly. Manage your responses. Be kinder to yourself. Be kinder to those around you. Be more diligent, be disciplined, and be determined. Like really, really remain committed to yourself in this process. The fifth thing would be to take adequate breaks as you're going throughout this thing. Take adequate breaks throughout your day. Take adequate breaks throughout the week, throughout the month. Let me tell you, my last session, I believe, is on December 6th. Potentially December 5th, and I'm done for the rest of the year as far as recording and meeting with guests. I'm going to reconvene in 2021 because I believe in taking a break as often as possible. This year has been absolutely crazy, so don't knock yourself. Take the time to give yourself a breather, okay? I think I saw like a little Twitter clip and it was talking about like, it was like a kind of a play on like an allergy commercial, you know, where they're mentioning the side effects. This is going to be funnier if I find it and I post it and then you really drive it home. But it was about parenting and how one of the best stress relievers is to simply take a fucking break. And they, you know, carried the spelling differently, so it was funnier and a play on words there. But seriously, the best stress reliever in any situation is to simply take a break. And I'm not talking about the kind of break you get to because you've shut down and you didn't listen to me when I said take a break 6 weeks ago, and now you just stressed the fuck out and look at you. You're laid up on your couch, you're not answering your phone, don't nobody know where you're at, you're not coming outside. You shouldn't really be going outside in the first place other than to take a walk and a social distance with your mask on and for your essentials, but now you're just really in the fucking house. So be sure that you take an adequate break throughout this process. Growth and development is tough. Putting in work to become the best version of yourself is tough, but it is always worth it if you are diligent, committed to the process, and gentle with yourself. Finally, create proper social distancing channels. And I only say this in the sense of get off of social media for a little bit, okay? Get away from the news for a little bit. Get away from the friend who seems to always be closing 15 deals, the friend with 16 cars, the friend who never seems to have a job but all the money in the world, that person who you envy, that person who you aspire to be like. Take a break from stalking their page. Take a break from reminiscing on your high school days. Step back from looking at the lives of people around you and get your house in order. This right here, all you have is all you need. I've said that 100 times, but I mean it. It may seem like life is crazy, but if you can center in on yourself, implement a self-care routine, pinpoint your distractions, give them a name, develop your plan, be smart about your plan, break that down in a simple day-to-day fashion, learn to manage your responses as you set attainable daily objectives, take adequate breaks, give yourself a breather, pat yourself on the back, and then make sure you're giving social media and the folks around you that seem to be doing everything but feeding into your dream a break. This week, in full preface, I would like to say, during our recording time, before we got on air together, me and the guest that we are stepping into full effect this week, the wonderfully talented Domo, he is 17 years old. Now, I did not know this until after we started speaking to one another. So you'll notice a little difference in the introduction banter and then me quickly gather myself. But do not play yourself, as I almost played myself in assuming that maybe he wouldn't be able able to handle himself or measure up or keep up with the line of questioning or style of conversation I wanted to have. Not only did he put me in my fucking place, he made me take a seat. So please sit back and let's get ready to step into full effect with none other than Domo right after this.
Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Domo. I'm a DFW music artist.
Thank you so much, one, for coming on the show. Being a music artist in the DFW, I know right now it's a treacherous time, in my opinion.
For sure.
I would say, like, there's a lot going on. Mo3 just passed away, so one of my favorite artists. Definitely, that was tough to hear about. Right on I-35, no less. So
the crazy thing is I didn't even know who that was until like he passed away.
Deadass? Oh my goodness. And I feel like he was just making his break though. Like big, like as far as people really learning who he was. I came across him for the first time, I think, like early 2018. And I think he had just put out a project the previous year. And then I know he had put out a project in 2019, and he had just released a single with Kevin Gates and crazy, crazy stuff. But aside from those things, when I think about like one particular line from the song Made You Look by Nas, they shooting like, oh, I made you look. And so I think about that in a lot of terms, especially in the sense of distractions as we go about life, unexpected situations, unexpected losses, unexpected pain. Tell me a little bit about your journey into music, why you've landed on this, and some things that are helping you stay focused in these moments.
Okay, so really I got started with making music about, I would say, 6th grade, right? I was on the bus with one of my homies that was playing actually it's a song by Eminem called Lose Yourself, and I didn't know who that was or the song at the time. And I was like, yo, what song is this? And they let me know what song it was.
That was like when Eminem still had umph. Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
I mean, nowadays what he's putting out is, you know, I'm still an Eminem fan, but at the end of the day, I do agree his older stuff was crazy. It was a different time. But what was going on with his music is it got me really attached to the art of hip hop. And at the time, I had never heard of it, but I remember when I first heard it, I was like just addicted. Everything Eminem. So then I started wanting to make my own rap music. And so then after that, you know, it was just I was balancing both music and basketball. And then at some point, freshman year, I dropped basketball and just went to do music full time. And then ever since then, since my freshman year in high school, I've just been, you know what I'm saying, working on the music, doing everything myself, kind of learning the ropes and stuff like that. But it's been a journey.
And how old are you now?
I'm 17.
Okay, so freshman year, you decided to do music full time. No more sports, athleticism, or anything like that. And now you're in this space where you're deciding to come up and say, this is definitively what I want to do. What do you think makes you so passionate about it, especially so early on?
So what really struck me with music, that what really got me connected to it was just the fact that like I was able to create something that impacted people. I always tell people since day one, my biggest mission was to impact as many people positively as possible. And with music, I remember when I first started, it started with just the passion. I noticed that I loved it more, you know, than the average person. There was just a really special kind of love for it. So when I first put out my first song and I saw the impact it had on people with the message I had, I was like, yo, this is something I really want to take serious and keep impacting people with. And I really feel like it's something that, you know, God put on me, you know, to share with the world. I feel like it's my calling and my purpose, to be honest.
I really like that you're so transparent in that, right? Tell me a little bit about how you've managed to, because I'm sure as a person, when you say like, hey, I want to be a music artist, I want to be, you know, this is the life that I want to live, that there's some opposition to that, or that you may encounter, you know, some pushback there. So how are you able to stay properly connected with yourself and centered enough with yourself to be so relentless and say, look, no matter what you're saying, I have to figure out if this is going to like fly or fail on my own?
You know, I'm actually glad you asked that question, because something that I feel is been instilled in me ever since I was young, and which only person I can give credit for that is God, because, you know, I've always had this even when I was playing basketball, I wanted to go to the NBA. And, people in school and all that stuff were telling me, nah, you'll never do it. But one thing that I'm blessed enough to have this mindset of that it's not up to them. It's up to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I really going to let people who might not have no ambitions themselves, or people who have no factor or say in my life decisions, am I going to let them really stop me from pursuing my dream? Like, they can make fun of me. They can do whatever they got to do. But at the end of the day, if I end up successful in this, I'm going to be happy that I didn't listen versus regretting it for the rest of my life that I listened to these people in order to quote unquote be cool. So I always had that, special mindset in me to, push through all of it. And it never really fazed me. I was just like, yo, y'all can talk now, but I'm going to be special one day. And I didn't know it was going to be music. I mean, I thought it was basketball, but, God works in mysterious ways to where, basketball got dropped, but the same mindset I had there came to music, the same grind, the same passion. So it was always just that. And also just, I always had this kind of inward feeling that I was meant for something greater. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was meant for something. I was put on this earth for a purpose greater than anything I could imagine. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was here to make a difference. So knowing that and knowing that there was a big stage in front of me, I couldn't let, these little people at school or people around me really try to talk down on that. Like, if I'm destined for greatness, why would I let people stop that? You know what I'm saying? So I just always had that mindset. And, I carried it throughout.
I think that's huge. If I'm destined for greatness, why let people stop that? And I think it's also really important that you put such positive reinforcement into self and say that I refuse to live a life of regret. Would you say there are people that you've seen in your life? I know for me, I recall being 17 and for the listeners, I didn't know how old he was before we started this, so it definitely makes sense that you probably wouldn't know who Mo3 was. But this is all tying together for me. But I remember when I was being 17, really just being hungry and not wanting to be like the people that raised me, and not wanting to be like the people that were talking down and against me, and wanting to make sure I stayed out of that negative space. So when you talk about making sure you live a life free of regret, do you feel like you have people or examples rather that you say, like, I don't want to be like you because I can tell you didn't follow your dreams?
There's definitely people who I've seen that on both ends of the spectrum, to be honest. There's people where I've seen that I'm like, yo, I don't want to be like you. And not in no way that's like disrespectful, and not in no way that I'm looking down on people, because I understand people come from different backgrounds, different situations. But for me, it's basically like I would look at people and I'd be like, yo, the reason why you're at the place you're at is because you didn't put in the work, or because you went with the wrong crowd, or because you had the wrong priorities. And so it wasn't so much I don't want to be like you. It was so much I don't want to make the same mistakes that you made that got you to where you're at that moment. You know what I'm saying? And same thing on the other side of the spectrum. It's like, yo, when I look at successful people, I'm not too prideful because I understand a lot of people have this pride to them where it's like, man, I don't want no handouts. I want to do it all myself. And I have that same drive. I do pretty much everything myself, but I'm not stupid enough to shoot down a hand that's out here trying to help me. I'm not stupid enough to not take influence from people who are doing it or at a higher level than me, or maybe even at the same level as me. They might have a different approach. So on both ends of the spectrum, it's like, I have people who I looked at that I'm like, I don't want to make the same mistake as you. And I also have people who I look at that I'm like, yo, I need to figure out what you did and do it because like I said, I'm 17. So it's like, if you did it at 20 something or 30 something, whatever it is, imagine if I start doing it at 17. You're where you're at then. Imagine where I could be. So that's what my mindset is. Being young is an advantage too. At the end of the day, it's like, yo, I got time to really soak everything in and grow.
I really love that you have the mindset of continued learning, that you understand the importance of continued learning, and that you're big on like, hey, I'm not rejecting a handout, because I think one thing in the midst when we talk about navigating through distractions in certain situations can be this, I have to do it on my own. Like, I have to be the person in charge and I have to stand strong. When in reality, there could be other areas of assistance, other avenues, other people that are available to provide you some peace of mind. Where would you say your biggest support system comes from throughout your journey, especially when you talk about having people who would talk to you and avert you from the dream? Who are people that are speaking life into it for you?
Man, I gotta for starters, I gotta put my family on there. You know what I'm saying? My mom, my dad, my little brothers, my sister, because I got two little brothers named Keegan and Caden. I got a little sister named Kayleen, and I have, my two parents. My family's always been grounded, and, I've always been a comfort for me, kind of helping me even when things go wrong. They're there for me. I always like a safe haven. So I'll for sure say my family first. And, my family, I was born here in the United States, but my parents were born in Tanzania, Africa. So part of that culture is your family is not just your blood. We have very close friends of ours back in my hometown, Ankeny, Iowa, that played a huge part in not just my music, but a huge part in just my development as a person. So never giving up on me, because I was a bad child. I like to argue a lot. I like to, make inconveniences for people, but those people never gave up on me. My aunt, Auntie Wema, my Auntie Felista, Uncle E, I could shout out people forever. And to be honest, everyone knows who they are. People back home is just, I would just say family, to be honest. My family, extended and blood, have always been that support system for me.
That is amazing. And I think it's wonderful that you're so grounded, that you're so put together, and that you're so focused. And I would implore you not to let a single bit of this energy die down. Stay rooted, stay grounded, stay determined. What would you say is your biggest driving force? Like at the end of the day, at the bottom line, when you are having a rough moment, when you do consider giving up, when it has been a bad day, what helps you get back on your feet?
Oh man, that's an awesome question. Helps me get back on my feet is, like I said earlier, it's the people who support me. And I'm not just talking about my family. Yeah, of course they're like the people who are around me, so they see it firsthand. But even my supporters, my fans, all those people, when I look at the impact that I have on them and the stuff they tell me, what my music might have got them through, what my message has got them through, that impact I have on people is truly what keeps me going, because I'm like, yo, I can't let these people down. And on top of that, it's again just that feeling of knowing like, yo, you're here for something bigger than yourself. You're here for something bigger than being average. So me always knowing that, and also me having the people around me that support me, the Domo Nation family, shout out to y'all, my actual family, blood family, extended family, all of them, they keep me grounded. The people who look up to me and support me, they keep me grounded, especially on times when I want to give up. They're always there telling me, don't give up, telling me how much I impact them, all that stuff. And that's just what keeps me going at the end of the day. So all of that, to be honest, just the people who support me.
You definitely have a very impactful message and a very impactful soul. Your nature is amazing, and I've definitely enjoyed our conversation thus far. What do you consider to be your biggest challenge throughout day-to-day progression? I know for me, I consider myself to be my own worst critic. I think before the world could tear me down, I would be the first to do it. So what do you consider to be your biggest challenge?
Can you repeat the question? The phone call was kind of cutting.
Oh, yeah, no, not a problem. So for the listeners, if that does cut, we're just going to go ahead and run this back. But what do you consider to be your biggest challenge? I know for me personally, like I consider myself to be my own worst critic. But, if the world doesn't tear me down, I'd be the one to do it first. So what do you consider to be your biggest challenge?
I for sure feel that, being, I'm a perfectionist, to every root of the word, I'm a perfectionist. I'm this type of person to be like, yo, I got to get it right. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that point. My biggest challenge sometimes is complacency, and not complacency as far as like, yo, I'm comfortable where I'm at, but it's the illusion that how do I say it? It's the illusion that it's the when you do big things, it's almost like it's that happiness, that good feeling, like, yo, I just did this,
kind of like this euphoric style of feel. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And it's almost like, I've gotten really good at not letting that stop me from continuing moving forward. I've had some big opportunities, hit me. And, the biggest thing for me, I would say it's a challenge, but something I've done well is tell myself like, yo, saying this is big, but there's more where that came from. There's more. So keep pushing. Don't let this be a reason for you to stop the grind, stop the push. And then also a biggest challenge for me, not just on a music level, but on a personal level and on like a human level, was just understanding me as a person. I had a time period where I was just I'd been through a lot of stuff emotionally. I'd been through a lot of stuff, a lot of hardships, you know what I'm saying, dealing with people who, you know, didn't really have my best interest, been done wrong by people. And that took a big toll on me as a person. I didn't realize I was holding so much anger and holding so much pain and heartbreak around that it would influence, how I looked at the world. And it would, in ways I didn't even know until I actually, ironically, this quarantine situation actually helped me to really sit down and be like, yo, why do you feel the way you do? You might have thought you were healed, but there's still a little bit of some baggage that you're carrying that you got to let go of in order for you to progress as a person. And I feel like this quarantine, being able to meditate and really think to myself, I've been able to do a really good job of killing those demons. So as a person, I would say, just my biggest hardship was just dealing with past emotions and subconsciously those emotions impacting, my everyday life and how I deal with things. And those are two things that I said, that I've actually done a good job of overcoming. You know what I'm saying? It's still a challenge, but I've done a good job of, pushing past them.
I'm proud of you for that. And I'm proud of you for sharing that. I think it's really, really profound when people can step back and take a look and say, I didn't even realize what that was going to do to me. And I don't think people give themselves enough credit or enough room to really accept that distractions are going to cause you to be in that space a time or two, to say, I didn't realize, I didn't know, I wasn't ready. And it is perfectly okay. It is actually rather necessary in many instances to step back, to take a breath, and to give yourself a real moment of reflection and introspection, to take time to meditate, to pray, whatever it is you do, if that's writing, talking with family or friends, and just making sure you're really and fully unpacking those issues so that you can say you fully dealt with them. Like, damn, y'all, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm actually a little speechless, my guy. You have made this one amazing engagement. And honestly, you have opened my mind to different possibilities on areas I may be able to take this show and people we may have on. So thank you so, so much. In closing, one thing I do want to do are some rapid fire questions. Okay. I'm going to ask you 5 questions right off the top. I really don't know what they're connected to. And then you'll just answer them. Feel free to be honest. This is an explicit show, so if you do cuss, that's okay. Just be, I mark it every time I post. So just in case, because I know I can be reckless at times. But yes, if you would, I'm just going to ask you 5 questions here. So the first, who do you have a favorite song right now?
No, actually, I don't have a favorite song. The way I listen to music is just whatever I feel like in the moment.
What have you been feeling in the moment?
A lot of Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. I heard he doesn't do music or won't be. I'm joking, but we'll see about an album from Kendrick. I would really love to see one.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. We shall see. What is your favorite sports team?
Oh man, favorite sports team. Man, that's crazy. I don't know, to be honest. I'm a basketball person, so I'm gonna just say what everyone else is probably gonna say: the Lakers.
He said, I'm gonna say what everyone else is good. I do love LeBron. I can't front. And this Lakers roster this year was actually clearly very impressive. I'm a big fan of Alex Caruso right now, so I'm a basketball person myself, but I tend to go around. But I'll give you that there. What's the last thing you watched on TV?
What do you think about the Heat, though? You know what I'm saying? Lakers won, but Jimmy was giving him work,
playing his fucking heart out. Jimmy,
and I respect the fact that he put
goodness.
I respect the fact that he put his heart on the floor.
Yeah, he put his heart on the floor, and I think Tyler Hero is somebody we should be afraid of. I think we should be scared if we're looking at Tyler is dangerous.
Facts. He got that swag too.
And he deserved every full-on moment he got for landing that snarl. When they caught that energy on the floor, they made me nervous. I thought LeBron was going home for a split second. I thought it might happen.
And I was low-key rooting for that too. I low-key was, because I'm the underdog kind of person. Like, I like LeBron, but I'm like, yo, like that. Like, if they won, it's a moment. Yeah. It's a good feeling.
What was great as a basketball fan, I think, is knowing, like, no matter what happened, it was going to be a great documentary to watch back either way. Like, whether the Heat took it, whether LA took it, and just knowing, like, this is going to be some good shit when they put it out on a documentary. Exactly. So I cannot wait.
And the best part about it is, it's the first finals where we actually, like, because the other finals it was like the Warriors. There was the Warriors versus whoever else. But now it's like, exactly. Now it's like, who's actually good? Like, who would have really expected the Miami Heat? People looking at Clippers. People were looking at the point is there were so many contenders for who could have made it there that it made it so interesting to watch. So there wasn't no clear cut winner. You literally had to wait till the end to see who was the winner. Even when LeBron and his squad was up, the Heat were coming back. You literally had to wait until they won that fourth game before you could really, sit back and be like, all right, it's over. And that's what I loved about
it was tooth and nail. It was definitely tooth and nail. Basketball is single-handedly my favorite sport, so I love that you're a fan, and I love that we could have that moment. What was the last thing you watched on TV?
Sorry, repeat that.
Last thing you watched on TV.
Last thing I watched on TV. Oh man. It's a show called Grownish.
Oh, okay. I've checked a couple of episodes of that. Not too many, but I've seen a few. Okay.
I got into it because I was a fan of Trevor Jackson.
Okay, you know what? I can respect that. Trevor Jackson is pretty great, and I can definitely see that. Okay, last question. Let me see. If you had to pick, and you'll never get it back. Do you lose your kneecaps or your elbows?
Oh snap! Elbows.
I respect it. Why though?
Because with your elbows, like if I lose my elbows, that's like my arms, right? But I can still like move my legs. I can still, be mobile. I can still do things. Not as much, but like if you lose your kneecaps,
but you could take off running too if you needed to. So I can see that. Like if I needed to jet, I could. Man, thank you so much for being here with us. Real quick, if you could just let the people know where they can find you on social media, if you have any upcoming projects or songs you'd like the people to listen to, because I know there are people that are going to be listening to the show that want to get more familiar with your music. So how can they do that?
Awesome. So, hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Domo. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter at Real Domo. So RealKelDomo. So at Real Domo. YouTube Domo. You can find my music, SoundCloud. All streaming platforms at the same name, Domo. You know what I'm saying? By the way, as far as music to go check out, I have a song called VVs that dropped a while ago. Y'all can go check that out on all platforms. And then we got some dope stuff happening this month in November. So y'all stay tuned for that.
Man, I'm excited to hear the new releases. And thank you again for coming on the show. I really had a great time. Absolutely. Everyone, this has been another week of expecting better, doing better, and believing better. I'm your host, It's Just Nakia. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at It's Just Nakia. We also have personal pages dedicated to the show at the Expect Effect Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And listen, we know that life is hard, but remember, becoming the best version of yourself, processes of self-care, overcoming life distractions. Well, at least for this little bit of time, it doesn't have to be. We will see you right here next week for another round of Wellness Wednesdays. This has been your weekly dose of me time.